Hello everybody, sorry for the slight delay. So we're here to demonstrate how modelling and simulation service can be provided on demand. If you see the simulation on the top was ready 10 minutes ago when we started. The problem we had there was getting the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to give you an overview here now of the UK research approach to delivery of modelling and simulation as a service. This is something we've been working with 16 nations within NATO on in order to develop a framework and a proof of concept approach of what exactly modelling and simulation service is. And you see this on this diagram here, our sort of OV1 overview of all of that. So if you see, this describes a model where people can access the community of interest to share common M&S processes, products and data sets. So going out to sort of this industry, academia or across government to access different models, data and simulation, and then be able to integrate that through different composition services and then execute that on the hardware of choice, so be it on the cloud or local infrastructure, and then generate that reuse within them. As a motivation for our search, we have lots of different drivers that are affecting these architectures that we want to deliver simulation into the future. So some of those are our ability to have agile architectures to be able to represent the full spectrum of effects. Technological advances from non-defense sectors are changing the way that we provide simulation. So things like cloud approaches or big data or wearable technologies. How do we integrate those sort of things into our simulations? We also have UK defence and NATO defence policy that tries to drive enterprise level coherence. So how can we best reuse our simulation assets? And lots of those facets are included in things like the NATO M&S master plan, which helps to direct some of those things in how we should develop our simulation systems. So in terms of a process, we focused on three main areas. Discovery, so ability to go and search and discover simulation resources to enable sharing and reuse. Composition, so how can we provide more agile architectures to reduce the cost of the integration cycle? And then how can we deploy and execute our simulations on the cloud to enable more on-demand access and availability and scalability? I'll now hand over to Keith Ford, who's part of our industry team that have been working on this. He'll give you an overview of some of the tools we've developed to deliver MSaaS.
Okay, thank you, John, and good afternoon to everybody. So the purpose of my part of the demonstration is really to show MSaaS is for real. It's not just PowerPoint where we have got kind of real tools, prototype tools we've implemented, which we will be capitalising on in the industry. So John mentioned about the whole tool set, and what we're doing within MSG, each nation will have its kind of own portal, its own suite of tools, but the important thing is we'll have common data so we can actually share data amongst nations. So within the UK we got the research portal here, designed by an engineer whose colour sense was worse than mine, but it gets the concept that we can actually access all the tools. So John mentioned about the process of discovery, composition and execution deployment. So we're going to look at the discovery part first, and here we're leveraging from the geospatial domain. We've got a company who's manages tens of thousands of images, videos for the UK mod, and we realised we could actually leverage their technologies and approach. So we've taken their prototype, their tool, and turned it into a kind of prototype tool for use of simulation. So just going to show a quick example of how searches we can do. One important thing, if we're saving things away for reuse, which is really the whole concept of MSaaS, Modelling Simulation Service, you need to better find what you've put in your registries and repositories, and we need really kind of good discovery tools. So this gives you kind of the power here. So first of all, I'm just going to show you how we can find a scenario. Well, first of all, I do actually just do a search of the registry to find out what's in there. So at the moment, it's going back to the UK, the registry is in the cloud in the UK somewhere, and it's been performing queries on what artifacts are in the registry, and it's returned about 65 there. We can then filter that, so I actually wanted a scenario. Do another search, it's going away, and hopefully after a period of time it will retrieve any scenarios associated with compositions in the registry, and it's returned 49. So we could actually kind of filter them down more. If I say I want scenarios in that particular area, and we returned 3. So once you've actually found something you want in the registry, the thing you need to do then is to evaluate it. Is it fit for purpose? Is it what you want to use it for? So just having a name here which says kind of Persian Gulf metadata and a date, not particularly helpful. So we then need to look at the metadata that describes what the registry item's doing. So just bring that up. The metadata itself isn't exciting. It tells you what entities are in there, who created it, maybe what the weather conditions are for the scenario, environmental conditions. But the important thing with the concept we've got for the registry is that we can actually bring in other information as well. So it's actually loaded up on the right hand side is actually a video of the scenario which actually would show you, how that scenario would unfold in practice. You could also have other information like bitmaps which maybe show false laydown. You could also include information about users' experience of using that scenario. So we can actually augment the metadata with this additional information, and that helps you perform that evaluation of it to see if it meets your purpose or not. So I'm just going to quickly go on to composition then, and this is a kind of new area of research here. Here the composition defines which services are being used together. So here we're using the registry again to find some compositions, and we've got some hard-coded requirements in there which we're going to process with a web processing service, which I'm going to run just by clicking this. What's going on there now, a lot of complex searches were performed. It happened very quickly, but a lot of complex searches performed which actually identified different compositions which met those requirements, and it's actually listed them in a kind of ranked list of compositions that satisfied or partially satisfied that requirement. So we can then select one of them, and we get a graphical representation of what these services are. In terms of the ability to reuse compositions, we've developed the concept of sub-compositions. These are kind of groups of services which provide a particular function. So in this case, it could be exercise control, and I can expand that sub-composition. And which means these are kind of bigger building blocks we can bring together, which actually will simplify your integration process. MSaaS is not magic. You've still got the pain of actually kind of integrating your federates and your services. But by reducing the number of interfaces with these concept of sub-compositions, you actually make the problem a lot simpler. Also, potentially, you could actually then have those sub-compositions accredited. So when you come to accreditation, it will actually simplify the accreditation process. And the last tool I want to show you is the we're actually running a simulation in the cloud in the UK. And we've actually got a desktop simulator attached to the Federation, which could represent a full mission simulation. We've actually got a better demonstration on the Talis booth on booth 2427, I think it is, and if you want to come to know more about it, please come and see me there. In terms of access in Federation, you can actually, we've got a mobile version of that which you can access via QR code. If anyone's got a QR code scanner, they're welcome to scan it, and you can actually join the Federation. It's simple as just going to click in the button. With that, I'll hand back over to John.
Thank you very much, Keith. As you saw there, that we've actually implemented some of that plan and got some tools, and there you can see some of the points of MSaaS come to life. In terms of some of the potential benefits there, you can see that by having that web browser and access to it, you can have on-demand access to that anytime. The architecture enables some agility and able to add new and different services. So as a new threat or something emerges from theatre, hopefully your systems can become more agile to representing that. You can help with the VMV, so you can accredit the interoperability of your simulations and be able to have coherence in the data and models that you're using across your defence enterprise. But although we can see potential benefits now and into the future, and as we develop MSaaS, there's still some risk and challenges to overcome. So in terms of establishing the ecosystem for how we build that demander and supplier community, and the business models we need to support that, the commercial frameworks and how we procure simulations that might affect that as well. We also need to champion this approach across our organisation so that you can feed this into simulation strategy and policy so that we can help make it happen. And there's other technical issues to do with sort of cloud latency and security that we need to further research. So just to summarise, the next steps, the NATO MSG 136 has just come to an end, and there's going to be a new 3 or 4 year task group starting in February next year. So we're aiming to operationalise MSaaS, so take it on to higher TRL, and obviously there's various different R&D aspects that we need to further enhance to really achieve the full benefits of MSaaS. So please, if anyone's interested, come along, get involved, contact Robert as a co-chair or myself, and you can get involved. That's all we had. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.